What's going on, everyone? Now, we had some technical difficulties, but, if you guys didn't know, this is Conversations with Pops, episode 2. I got Jimmy Lee, Mr. Cup of Stuff, Uncle Jay, Pops, and WBPTV, aka Camilo Solomon is in the building. The topic that we was talking before, we experienced some technical difficulties. We was talking about the importance of the black family, and what we had left off at we was talking about this generation raising kids. We left off about with the phone, social media, TV, how that's a huge influence right now with kids. But that social media and all that stuff, internet and all that began to take off when we was growing up. But now I can testify for myself. I have 2 girls, and I can see how they can it's kind of like not voodoo, but what's the word I'm looking for? Like hypnotizing. Like how crazy that is. Like your baby crying, you just throw on a YouTube video and they just be quiet that fast, and that's kind of scary though.
Hey, hold on, Camilo. Let's put a pin in that because Pops, you was gonna ask me something about trades and my generation, why kids in my generation don't like trades, or that's something that they wasn't.
Yeah, it seemed like your generation was never steered that direction. Your generation was more pushed, towards going to college more so than any of the previous generations.
So I would say yes to that, but I would also say that I grew up in a generation where everybody wanted to go professional in basketball, football. So really getting to college was just to show out in college, to be that NFL or NBA star, to then come back and take care of mom and whomever, to then go forward. Now, granted, I already knew what I wanted to do, but I really didn't know, you know what I'm saying? But I already knew that wasn't my lane. I could have done it, but that's what I was not focused on. But I could say that if I was focused on it and took it like 100% serious, yeah, that probably would have been me.
Right.
But most of us, like, you had to trade and you didn't necessarily stick driving the truck down our throats, but I always knew that was something I could fall back on. If anything, if I fucked up anything, I knew Pops would throw me in the truck and I'd be straight. But everybody else that I grew up around, it seemed like becoming an NFL star and a basketball player was like that ticket.
It's like celebrities, It's like everybody's trying to be one.
Yeah, like I said, I grew up in that era, and the era that everybody wanted to become a rapper.
There you go.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say you keep leaving one out because you grew up in that era. I don't call it, for lack of a better term, I'm gonna say the Soulja Boy era, But you grew up in that internet rap era, the beginning of it when niggas like us, old school, we weren't understanding it. And what it has become, I still don't understand it. Cause that drill stuff is something different to me, man. I'm like, trying to understand it, and it's like I can't understand it, and I consider myself one of the most understanding niggas around when it comes to nigga activities. Man, I just
and I took my poke at that too. You know what I'm saying, rapping and shit. But I knew if I became a rapper, I would be the nigga behind the scenes because they make more money than the nigga rapping in the mic. You know what I'm saying? I always had the business mindset. I just didn't have the effort to do the clown.
I know. I mean, that's interesting. It's like everything that you was talking about was still circling back to the celebritism.
Yeah.
And it's like, in our community, it seems like being celebrity is like our way out the hood, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So
where most of the black people.
You gotta think of the trend. and I'm saying this from my perspective, right? So I grew up in the internet age where we're saying that's what everybody wanted to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I would assume when you were growing up, it wasn't none of that. It really wasn't I'm going to be a movie star. Nah, your thing was money.
Right.
I'm going to get to this money by any means. That was the trend.
You know, when
you was growing up.
When I was coming up, when I was like your age, you know, that would probably be like the 80s when I was in California, you know, and it was, the trend was, yeah, we're going to get this money. It was the crack had done hit the Bay Area by the time I started, moving around, and my dick started getting hard and shit, you know what I'm saying? And, yeah, it was all about,
It was all about the money.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, what was it before that? What was the trend before that? True. What was Granddad's trend?
True.
It was still about the money, but look, I'm gonna tell you something, because this put us back on what Dave was talking about was, you know, family was way more important too. Now, you know, and it's hard to say it while I'm sitting at a whole table full of family niggas. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not like it's absent in our community. You know, the representation of it is absent. You know what I'm saying? Because I tell my wife all the time, like, you know, that's why I don't believe the TVs and stuff like that, because, you know what I'm saying, I'm like, yeah, I can understand they say, you know what I'm saying, there's a whole lot of single mothers out there doing this, and that, and a whole bunch of deadbeat ass niggas running around, this, and that. No. But I'm like, from what I see in the circles that I keep close to me, I see stand-up niggas taking care of their kids, taking care of their families, you know what I mean? For the most part. For the most part.
Well,
I mean, yeah, we do.
No, we don't.
We do.
No, we don't.
I speak for myself. I do.
I mean,
you know,
okay, I would be wrong to say I don't. You know, don't get me wrong.
Exactly.
Okay, I
too many of them niggas.
I understand.
Not to know.
But I will say this though. You know, the situation of the scenario on why it's like this now is, if you want to say he was defeated, okay, it's the male's fault. But he's been transitioned into this type of position to a point also. I mean, because just as fast as they was pumping that dope into our communities, putting niggas in the penitentiary and killing them, they was pumping that daggone welfare money and motherfucking triple times as hard, making these bitches masculine than a motherfucker.
Okay, so
I get that, but
you know what I'm
can I chime in on that real quick? And I just want to say that, you know what I'm saying, it still doesn't change the fact that it's the representation that is misleading as far as what I can see. You know what I'm saying? Because you get all kinds of representation of the deadbeat, whether if you turn on the TV or hear it. You know, we're always talking about the deadbeat niggas.
The image,
and it's supposed to be so many deadbeat niggas and this and that. You know what I'm saying? But we don't see the imagery of niggas like us on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? That's out there that does what we got to do with our family. You know what I mean? And we know, but individually, you know more niggas like yourself, like you just said, than you do deadbeat niggas.
Let me tell you something.
They don't always broadcast the negative than the positive.
Exactly.
Let me tell you something. You take the cost that it costs to raise a child, okay? And you equivocate it into money, and you put it against a child support payment, and all legally you have to do is spend 4 days a month with this child. Which one is cheaper?
I mean, I can only choose for how I was raised.
I said cheaper. I ain't saying nothing about raised.
I don't care which one's cheaper. All I'm saying
does matter.
All I'm saying is that I feel like there's an underrepresentation, and niggas don't talk about the good niggas enough. You know what I'm saying? The good niggas is out here that's really putting in the work, but yet all we want to do is glorify the deadbeats.
Because that is us now. That's this whole hip hop and all we do is glorify that aspect of it. You know what I'm saying?
And it's going to
but then they want to bitch about when that's all that motherfuckers is doing. Because motherfuckers think that's what y'all want. So of course they gonna do, you know what I'm saying, what they doing. But then you want a motherfucker that's gonna get up, Go out here in the world, hustle for you, come home, you know what I'm saying, give you his money before you get drunk, you know what I'm saying, fuck you at least 3, 4, 6 times a month, and don't get out here and fuck nothing else like crazy, maybe every blue moon, and treat you half-ass good.
Right, so,
but y'all want the image of this, but you want this, and this can't be the same.
What caused that to stop happening?
What would cause it to stop happening?
Yeah, what caused, like you said, like, you know, people who we surround ourselves with as people like us, people who's there for their family, so forth and so forth. But we all know somebody who's deadbeat, but what started the deadbeat stuff because
the playing field has changed. The playing field has changed.
There's propaganda.
The propaganda has evolved, and the money and things that have evolved that is, in the woman's eyes, have taken value out of a man.
I was gonna blame it on, you know, the war on drugs. Like you said earlier, you know, they put the coke and everything here for us to use, and we was targeted, and then, you know, they locked up most of the men.
We can accuse it of the war on drugs, or, you know, whatever. That is just plain simple chemical warfare.
Can I say one thing about the war on drugs real quick? Just real quick. Yes, they pump dope into our community, but end of the day, by the time they pumped that dope into our community, we was already at a state of mind to where we received that dope and started injecting it into our own veins. So really, I could give 2 fucks about them putting dope into our community, because we had the choice to pick it up and do what we did with it. So therefore, our mentality and our social structure was crippled as such to where we received it well. That's the way I look at the dope game. Some niggas got paid on it, and life is what it is. I ain't gonna sit up here and just, you know, but yeah, okay, we know they did it. I'm gonna put 32 keys in front of you right now. You choose to go sell it for me, bring back my money, that's on you. Okay, but don't get mad at me because I gave you opportunity. Get mad at your damn self because you took it. And niggas took it. And this is what the effect of it was. We got to deal with it and fix it.
Like I was going to say, with the dope game even aside and stuff, I mean, the war on drugs or whatever you want to call it, I mean, it's always been a full-fledged assault on Negro families.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's that, and it got worse. A lot of the beginning of the 1900s into that mid 70s and 80s era, then the crack and 90s with the mass incarceration. There's been so many different avenues. Prison, the school to prison pipeline. You know, we got so many different.
Thank you, Biden.
You know, welfare. You know, so we can argue. I know people can argue the good effects of the bad effects. Listen,
welfare ain't terrible if it's used properly.
Welfare played a heavy role in the breakdown status quo of the Negro black family.
This shifted the power.
You know, I mean, when you got places like, it's like you living in a place and this stuff, and it's like you got benefits that specifically tell you if you got a man at home, you'll lose these benefits, you'll lose this apartment, you'll lose these health benefits or whatever.
But the more babies you make, we'll pay you more money.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but you can have more babies, and we're up the ante every time you do it. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna penalize you if you keep any of the niggas around that's giving you these babies. It almost reminds you of a sex farm, like back in the day when they used to talk about in Baltimore and other places where they used to have these places that was just meant for Negroes to have more babies or whatever, for them to have more control over the population. But I mean, it's crazy.
It's not crazy. It's just an evolution of a new example of where we're at. Like I said, you know, anybody out there, you go read the Willie Lynch or listen to it spoken to you in any way that explain on why we where we at today. You know, this is how we've been programmed to operate, and we've been riding along so good that I bet you know, that stock's been turning money for hundreds of years because, you know, they put this instilled in us to where we don't trust each other, like each other, unite with each other or nothing. And
so what's the deprogram?
The deprogramming?
We've been programmed that way for so long. What's the deprogram to get out of it?
You had to go back to where they programmed you at. They program
so
They program
I've been
us.
programmed since I'm a baby.
Exactly. They program you at children. Okay, just like the one. I'm pretty sure it's a myth, but anyway, just like a saying about slavery or whatever, but it's about.
Oh shit!
If you go after. Forget about this. As a matter of fact, this brings you back to some of that Willie Lynch letter that you was just speaking of. But it's some along the lines of, forget about this generation. This generation of Negroes is already lost. And fuck these grown ass men. You ain't, what you look like? How you gonna tell a grown ass man what fuck to do?
Right.
Right. So we gotta go after the kids. But how do you go after the kids? You go after the kids by the mother. So you have to make the mother dependent on you enough to where she says, shit, fuck the nigga. You know what I'm saying? That way she'll bring the child to you. Okay? Hence our education system. We literally give our children to the people who has so-called, let's say at the very least, colonized. We at least know the 13 colonies existed. So we'll say colonized. We literally give our kids to the colonizers to educate us for our future generation of adults.
I would say in the short term, to answer your question, first, I'm one of them. We have people who lay out the problem, and we have people who can identify the problem. You know what I'm saying? I'm a motherfuck the problem. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we got the problem. We motherfuck it. We're gonna motherfucking put an end to it. Because to me, when you got problems, you're bleeding money and whatever. So to me, the way things have evolved in today, that's the way I personally look at everything. Because, okay, I understand that where we was and where we're here. I understand this. I'm like you. Okay, I know this. We can sit here and talk about, saying, we're really, this is our homeland. We can talk about all that all day. Are we just trying to build motivation for a revolution? Or what are we doing with this conversation?
I would say we are saying.
What do you see you want? You yourself, how do you see yourself in this society today? Let me ask you this. Do you feel racism going on? Personally.
I have experienced it, yes.
May I have your definition of a racism situation? Or...
Okay, I give you one.
Yes.
So...
Racism, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So, there was a time when I was in high school, right? I went to a school called CTC.
Right.
It's a trade school for the high schools in our area for us to pretty much have
It's vocational school.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, this one incident, I was in a lunchroom with plenty of black, white, brown children, okay?
Okay.
Now, I don't know what it was about me, per se, but I was taken to the office because a Caucasian woman told that I smacked her on the butt and said I could get away with it. Now, I've never seen this chick in my life or anything like that. So now we got to the point where I had to walk around the high school with my lunch above my head because I technically had a target on my back for what she said about me.
You had to walk with your lunch above your head?
Yeah, because they were always checking my hands to make sure I wasn't touching any Caucasian women.
They told you don't touch no Caucasian women.
Yes, the principal literally told me that.
Don't touch no Caucasian women.
Not those words, but in a sense, those words, yes.
In a sense, those words, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So he committed a racist act.
I do remember hearing this story from
Okay. I remember this the smacking of the ass story too. Now, for whatever reason, if we would have had the option to pursue that, because if we could have took that to court and shown that, we would have got a restitution for that.
Okay.
I mean, do you agree to that?
I would agree.
Okay, so therefore, there is a penalty to racism.
Yes.
But it is.
What more do you want?
I think it is a penalty, but we have to go way beyond to prove it. Because let's say this, right? Like I said before, this podcast ain't for the sensitive. You can say, if you say something about the Jewish community or any other community, you're getting fired, you gotta apologize, so forth, you lose the sponsors. But you can go on TV and say, nigga, make racist remarks or whatever, and get suspended for 2 days, but you still got your job. We seen it happen to Nick Cannon, but we also see other, white people who's on TV who said got caught saying nigga.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Wheatbread? Can I ask you a question? Did you really choose to just sit here and try to compare the comparison of niggas to Jewish people?
No, I'm saying it's the fact that if you speak anything ill of any other community,
no, but you use
penalized for it, right?
You're missing the.
I'm being sarcastic.
I
understand the point, but the Jewish people.
The point is that no matter who you are in this land, you are protected unless you're a Negro.
Yeah, that's my whole point. Like, now, and you can say anything else by
there's a reason behind it. Like I told y'all last time, I don't know if any of y'all, I know you brought up the Moors and stuff last time and everything, so I don't know if you went and looked into it or not, but like I told you last time, reason why is because we continuously, if we're gonna abide by these laws or be within the system, we have to understand we have to change the definition of what we keep classifying ourselves, because we're classified and we're dead by law. Okay, the other communities that you named are classified as white. Go see what it means in the Black's Dictionary of Law.
Period.
That's true, yeah.
It don't have nothing to really do with your color, because that's why you got so many North Africans and other motherfuckers that come over here that's classified as white, or Black Europeans that come over here that's on their birth certificate classified as white. And matter of fact, if you ever find yourself close enough to have a conversation with one and get to that point, you can probably stop in at your local Shell or gas station with them Africans and stuff, where these niggas is darker than any motherfucker that you ever seen. But I guarantee you, on their passports and on their papers, they're classified as white. Okay, which is another trick that's being used to misjudge the population and the numbers here too, right? Because we keep getting this number, we keep hearing that there's such a huge white population here that it outnumbers everybody, and Negroes is only 13% of the population. We keep hearing that bullshit, but then we're only going by paper.
Hold on.
Papers that they created.
Cause it's funny because I was just watching something the other day. And I have to say this, man, shout out to my man, Dane Calloway. I don't know him personally, but I've been watching him for a while. And the man is dropping some real good gems on us that we need to be listening to. And Dane Calloway dropped this video where he was talking about the Census Bureau and how every year we get that every year, but we didn't get one last year. And one of the reasons pertaining why is because the white population is dying off. And we need to know that, because if the white population is dying off and if we're more than them, who's exactly...
But it's not even the true minority.
It's not even just...
we're supposed to be the second majority here.
Right.
That's the general census, right?
But the census is done every 10 years. But look, majority of us individuals, and that's some of the stuff that Dane was alluding to, but as well, because majority of stuff that we get in our historical numbers based off of are based off of the census. Now, even when you go back to earlier census and stuff, you have to understand how open to flawed this system is to begin with, to implement from any standpoint. I don't give a fuck what government agency you really is.
They would be better off just counting how many social security numbers are active and saying, here we go.
Yeah, exactly. So back then, like I said, so you already had a very flawed system to begin with. So there was already a lot of misclassification. And I mean, face it, you're going to have a lot of made up ass numbers too. Because for one, I mean, think about this. This is funny, like for real. Because, all right, back in, let's say it's 1810. Let's say 1810, and you get this little job. You little white boy. You get this little job. Tell you that you're gonna go around and you're gonna do the census, and you need to go to each door and take account of the people that's there and mark them on these 3 categories or whatever. All right, but they want you to go over Mississippi and do it. This is all Indian land at 1810, and it still is to this day. I mean, you go to Mississippi, you're gonna see a lot of niggas. But
all over the place.
But how many white folks you know back then? How many white folks you know now that's running up in the Mississippi and different areas trying to walk through the hood and knock on every single door to get some numbers from us? All right, they don't fuck with us like that then. They don't fuck with us like that now. You know what I mean? So how many of our true numbers do they really record in their shit unless they actually get us to start going to their hospitals and stuff like that so they can start recording us through that way, which a lot of us do. You know what I'm saying? It's part of adapting into the as they called it back then to our ancestors, the dominant society. Those of us that's gonna stay on this side of Mississippi gotta adapt to the dominant society. You know what I'm saying? And those who don't, you can go and live freely on reservations. That was a lie too.
Oh shit, that was deep. But the next topic: what's everyone's stance on black crime?
Let me tell you this.
It ain't gonna get no better. But keep getting worse.
It really hurts me that I hear you say that right now.
I'm just being honest from what I see. Like we said earlier, it's all about influence, right? And majority of the influence now, and I hate to be this guy, you feel me? Because I listen to rap music, but I'm not influenced by it. I'm not out here gangbanging.
But you're supporting it though.
To a degree, yes I am. Yes I am. But I will say
yeah, because he listens to it.
If you want to take it that deep,
is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm the problem.
Yes.
Okay. But what degree am I the problem? Am I the whole problem?
Individually, there's
I don't watch videos no more, but I guarantee you there's videos out here that show guns.
Oh, definitely.
Tell you to go shoot up the block.
Right. Instagram,
baddest bitch back home.
TikToks,
Right. So am I still the problem because I listen to it?
Man, look. Squash all the beef. We want to start talking about black on black, quote unquote, crime, whatever it is, ever such. I mean, because in one sense, any crime is going to be done within a 5 square radius. So if we got a bunch of niggas living within a 5 square radius, that's what they doing their crime on, each other. Right. Just like white folks. They the same way, Mexicans, same way, everybody same way when it comes to that shit. So, that whole black on black crime, heck, think about this. Majority of the niggas, and it's sad, but you brought up rap, right?
Right.
The drill music and all that shit, the niggas killing each other, right? Majority of them are killing niggas that they went to school with. Yeah. Niggas they grew up in the neighborhood with. Look, they on different sides of the street. One went to this hood gang, one went to this hood gang, which a lot of these hood gangs popped up.
But a lot of it now is getting
let's make sure that we understand.
I understand.
A lot of these hood gangs sprung up because real leadership fell off. And when we talk about that, we gotta start putting blame where the fuck it is. Cause like I remember coming up and we were blaming our elders, generation right before us, getting strung out and stuff like that and talking about, man, these niggas ain't really about shit. So we thought we had the world figured out and we doubled down on what they did and the next generation behind us, we don't even really fuck with them like that.
Vouch for that. And that's what I was bringing my point. Cause Pops and Uncle Jay, y'all know what y'all did. Yeah. And I was around, but y'all ain't see me at 13, 14 with it in my pants.
You know what?
Doing the thing that y'all was doing or whatever the case may be.
Can I tell you something on that? And that's where I think the morals have changed because I know the attitude of the things that I've done, the things, your uncle's done, but we had the respect factor You know what I'm saying? That was different.
There was rules in the game back then. You know what I'm saying? So we still took care of our family and everything and do what we got to do. Life is what happens.
And like I said, I understood that as a young cat. It was a code. You don't sell the kids. You don't do that dumb shit, but cats is out here doing it now. I see it every day.
Well, let me ask you this: in order to stop it, outside of some person coming down,
Man, ain't no saviors, man. Leadership got stuck
It's no more though.
How it was when, bro. I can vouch for this, bro. Like I said, y'all know what y'all was doing, and even I grew up knowing that I couldn't have got off with that shit. Even if I wanted to.
I'm about to shut.
Hold on, Camilio. Now, with that being said, I also understood the rules of it, even though I wasn't in it. So it goes back to influence. What's the right influence? Even though you're doing wrong, what was the right influence?
let me tell you.
Uncle Jay already said it.
You already look.
It's family. Because I'm gonna tell you, because going back then, you know, like I said, it was you remember I went back to before the mindset of the relationship of the family?
Right.
Okay. Back in the very beginning, when y'all great grandmother was around, Miss Johnson, right? You know, she was of the mindset, you know, we were still hiding what we was doing.
Right.
Because it wasn't right. When things have evolved to where so much is right now, that we have no fucking rules out here in the world.
Look at what listen, cause I'm talking more so to you when I say this, because I'm like, look at what our generation did. We can't skip over how important that was. That, you know, in some ways, I feel like we left the little niggas hanging. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of different ways.
We had crack.
You know?
Our generation had crack.
And
crack put money in our pockets.
I heard young niggas on YouTube and shit like that say the very opposite of what I just said, basically from their standpoint. You know what I'm saying? Which is, man, fuck these old niggas. They can't really tell us shit. They can't tell me nothing about this or this, that. We ruin this and you know?
There's a huge disconnection from your generation to the next.
I feel like this. Even when I'm out and about, when I'm, you know what I'm saying? You run into young niggas here and there. You know what I mean? Look, the real understand real, you know what I'm saying, real see real. So motherfuckers will give you certain respect, you know what I mean, like OG, more like, you know, stay out my way kind of what's good, Uncle, what's good, you know what I'm saying, that type of shit, you know what I mean? But at the same time, nigga, they ain't trying to hear no real advice from nobody, nigga. They think they got it figured out already, you know what I mean?
Look, this goes right back into the first question, which is the importance of the black family. The reason why they showed all like
real recognize real. That's what I was trying to think.
This second generation don't show no respect to the old generation, is because of that disconnect of them growing up.
The family unit has been destroyed in our community at this point.
That's the reason why.
Let me tell you something. One thing that used to work my nerve was people would fucking congratulate me on fucking being there and taking care of y'all.
But
did you fucking hear me?
Yeah. But
just think about some people who
think about how many people they haven't seen do that.
That's my point.
Right.
I ain't doing nothing fucking special.
But you are.
But I'm not.
But you are.
I understand that. That's fucking sad.
Right.
Cause I'm not.
This is where I'm going with it.
I fucking hit the pussy and the motherfucking shit, and this is what it is. So end of the day, to these motherfuckers, hey, look here, hey, you know,
what it is. You
hey,
with your conscience.
No doubt.
You know, what's really fucked up is, I remember growing up, and all the way down from Big Mama on, it was traditions, morals, values. Takes a village to raise. Even if you didn't have a village, you still felt like you had a village that raised. So for real, we need to get back to tradition.
But what is going to take, what is going to be the shock? What is going to be the moment that we take all this consciousness that we are accumulating? I mean, think about it. I mean, we're just who we are. Wait a minute, and we have the thoughts that we have. You understand what I'm saying? I know everybody here watches YouTube and TikTok and all this other stuff. Think about it. So, so that is my point. At this point, we have all the knowledge to understand where we're at. So now, back to your point, what the fuck are we going to do next?
Can I interject and just say that it might have a lot to do with, I mean, what you're describing is something that's happening. Okay, it's still slow moving like anything else, but it is something that is happening, and like any movement that happens organically, it's always going to be hijackers that's going to try to take it out off course. Okay, but the whole the information era is here, and people are learning more and more, and this thing, and you have the freedom to learn this, and motherfuckers started realizing that they can't actually start learning shit. I mean, stuff that it used to take us back in the day, it take us 3-4 weeks to actually come back with a solid answer on some shit. You know what I'm saying? You got access to it in minutes. So, you know what I'm saying? So
what do we do to steer our way to what we're trying to get to?
Let me say, like I said, it's happening as far as that part or that stage when people start talking about the information. Now, here go the hijacks. Got to dodge the hijacks because a lot of stuff started happening. Look, again, you remember when I said as far as the, you know what I'm saying, American Negro was put to sleep behind 9/11. And then we was put into a deeper sleep behind Obama. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was almost like passed the fuck out behind that. Okay? Well, that whole woke era started happening again with Negroes. Okay? Where niggas started figuring out again, like, this patriotism shit ain't really working out with us. The same nigga ain't really our enemy. Matter of fact, and a whole bunch of Pan-African shit started popping up, and this, and this term popped back up again. Woke. Okay? Well, then came the hijack. Now when you think of woke, you can't think of nothing but rainbows and everything else, you know, a bunch of other shit. They don't really pertain to what it really started off with. The organic movement behind the word woke was the American Negro starting to wake up again and start realizing, hey, we're still being left behind.
When I hear woke, that's what I think of. American Negro waking up, you know, but you are exactly correct. Like everything else, it gets hijacked and then it becomes something else. That's why I went back because, you know, what racism, think about it. Everything rolls into this identification thing. Racism, man, the discrimination of us, man, them issues is over. They like, y'all got what y'all gonna get. You know, this is the next community or what have you, you know, that's, you know, being oppressed, you know. And it's sad because they use our fight to be whatever. Can I tell you something? I can't remember this ever being a fucking problem.
What?
The whole all the identifications and things like it's like it's a problem that just came out of nowhere.
There we go, man. Can't talk about. I mean, I know it's part of programming, but it's impossible. They have it programmed into us now because it's like I said. Woke used to mean one thing, now it means something else. Right. You cannot talk about the American Negro and talk about black folk in general without somehow the alphabet crew being thrown in. It's like it goes hand in hand now. And you're about to do it, and I just want to point out that you're about to do it before you do it.
I just want to point out, because you said something about, you know, racism, and to me, I think the biggest thing on racism, we see it every day on TV through commercials and all. To me, I think the most, you know, scariest thing for America is the black family, truly black, you know. When we see commercials, we see, you know, the Folgers commercial, Orange Juice commercial, whatever. We see a black father, 9 times out of 10, the mother is white and the kids is mixed.
It's just what is natural and what is right across the board. You're going to have different circumstances that happens when you break a population down to individuals. Okay, but naturally, to keep bloodlines going, bloodlines have to keep going with themselves. So if you're going to keep having Irish descendants in this country, there's going to be a large population of Irish folks who believe it is only right to procreate with Irish folks. That's going to keep our bloodlines going. Chinese folks, they're going to be the same way. Yes, there's going to be exceptions to the rules, but as a culture, they're going to understand that. Black folks understand that. We still do that to this day, and white folks understand that. But we let all the propaganda around it and the racism talk around it make it sound like that's a bad thing. Like, I'm supposed to hate this white man because he believes that his family should be with white folk.
Nah, I'm saying.
No, I'm not saying
like. So I'm saying like the way we are represented on the big screen. So, like, you know. Like our circle, you know, we got black queens and our circle is married to black queens, so forth and so forth. But when we see ourselves on TV, on commercials and stuff, it's like the only way to have a black person on TV, you have to be with this person from this race.
You have to be interracial or homosexual.
Yes,
I bring it up for you.
They are not going to show a black king and a black queen together with a family.
Because it is, it's not only them days is over, it is not showing any masculinity at all.
That's why that goes back into
the black family.
Yes,
because when like I told you, that goes also further back into what we've been programmed, that if you make the woman distrust the male, she will covet that is feeding her, which is a white man, which is what she's more loyal to than the man of her own race. He has given her so much.
So the question is, to that, I would say, I think that we as a people, where they say that we as black people, we don't stand up for our, fellow people. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, we're taught not to trust each other.
But not even that, just our women. We don't stand up for our women because we degrade our women at the same time.
We do. Bro, we do.
We don't do nothing for any of us.
Hold up. Wait a minute. You said we degrade our women at the same time. We do. And I have to assume you are talking about because of the quote unquote, like they talk about with the rap music and stuff like that.
That in the way they portray themselves on
the
TV,
way that men and women
social,
everything. Like, and you mean like the way they talk to each other and stuff like that,
right? Like a conversation with two dudes.
Can we at least agree to one thing though?
What's that?
We're dealing with different cultures. You know what I'm saying? They keep trying to make us in their image or show us through the image, and us being ourselves is bad and wrong. You know what I'm saying? Look, it's just like when I see two grown ass black men talking. Okay, when I used to do security, and I'd be at a nightclub, okay, and I'd be there, my partner be one of these white boys, and he's kind of scary acting anyway, because, we're at the nightclub in the hood, you know what I mean? But whatever, he already scary acting and shit. But the way that he's ready to react, because he see these two niggas up in each other's face, hollering at each other and talking and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And he ready to call me over there like, man, we got this. And I get over there and I'm looking and checking out the situation. And what I'm seeing two brothers communicating with each other. You see what I'm saying? It's different cultures. You know what I'm saying? The way that men and women talk to each other in our culture may be different sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Some people might say the way that black woman cussed that man out behind not doing those dishes was disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? But in their relationship, that was the conversation that was needed to happen, is that nigga know, like, nigga, do these goddamn dishes. You know what I'm saying? We have a different culture. We don't live like y'all. You know what I mean? Stop trying to criticize us and make everything we do negative, man. Fuck you. Nigga, I love my wife. You know what I mean?
Well, everything we do is compared to what they have done. Even our life expectancy is in comparisons to what theirs is. So, I mean, they've been trying to assimilate us since day one. And, like I said, the demasculation of the male in general, but especially the black male, the emasculation of the black woman, she's been emasculated, and it's hurting her. A lot of them are doing well for themselves. Doing well. They doing the 130s, the 160s. Got the BBLs and all that shit. Shit popping. You know what I'm saying? Shit out here in the world, 9 times out of 10, you see a bitch, she doing all right, ain't she? On any level, you know what I mean? The shit, they took advantage of the schooling and the money and the opportunities and stuff, while we was just out here getting ourselves locked up and bullshitting and killed.
Some of them did.
Right?
You can't say all of them, but some of them did.
I mean, whenever we talk about a generation, I mean, whenever we're talking about population in general, there's going to be always, you're generalizing, you know what I'm saying? Because not everybody's going to fit under one umbrella.
Well, everybody ain't fitting under one umbrella, but you got that aspect of it, then you got the ones that's left over, that, you know, you got your LGBTQ aspect of it, then you got your ones that's taken, and then you got the ones that ain't worth, I mean, by the time you break it all down, my point is that, you know, the numbers for them to break it down from what they got left over. And hey, I tell you right now, man, you know, I'm out in the world, you know what I'm saying? Man, there's some bad motherfuckers in there, 45, 50, 51. I'll be like, damn, man, shit, motherfucker. You next to a 20 up with the only thing is that was half fresh. Yours is used a little bit, but shit, bitch, you spitting out kids, what the fuck? Shut up. Bend over, you know? Shit.
I got a question. So, when we was talking about black on black crime, right? Can we do so? Do you believe it's a myth? Like it's not, because it's not really black on black crime, because every race has race on race crime.
Our crime and emphasis for some reason.
Black and black crime, you know, when I say as far as like alluding to a myth, or if you can call it black on black, I was just talking about the pure geographics of it all. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if we can go to a whole nother country and we're still going to find that same demographic where majority of the crime that's happening to a people is self-inflicted within a 5 square mile radius.
We are having a certain level of stupid ass crimes.
We're having a flood of these violent ass crimes with these guns and what they're calling these gangs and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's going back to a breakdown of leadership and stuff, because these niggas is out here thinking this is cool. Look, I heard it put one way, and you know, I had to agree with it. You know, we have a whole generation of men out here, black men out here, who were raised by their mamas because of some incidents that was going on during the 90s, the early 2000s, even the 80s.
Yes.
But we have a whole generation of it. So we already have a hyper emotion type niggas running around out here that's not really handling emotions, because no man was there to actually teach them about those emotions. You know what I'm saying? How to keep those emotions in check. You know what I'm saying? What's really important as far as moving forward, keeping that clear mind and whatnot.
I will tell you one thing. Can I do a commercial break?
That's not a knock to our single mothers out there. It's just the understanding that, listen, men are needed just like y'all need it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be able to teach my daughter womanhood. I barely understand it myself right now. You understand?
Can I tell you one thing though?
Individuals.
Can I tell you one thing though? For all the cats that's out there in 2023, if you're single and you got your shit half-assed together, you can have your choice of how many or whatever bitch you want. That's how much the numbers is in your favor.
You know,
ain't that saying something? You can have your choice. Old, young, whatever.
When my son is there and he's ready to act emotional over some stuff or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or some normal stuff that it's like, what? I know you ain't about to cry over that. You know what I mean? Like, that's giving him that understanding when he gets older. You know what I'm saying?
That's okay.
There's not a situation that's going to happen in this God's green earth that I'm going to be able to cry my way out of.
Can I ask you something based on that? The same way that he's there for his son, you know what I'm saying, to give him the mother would be more emotional, right? Mm-hmm. Think about that. You flip it around to the daughter and the son, just flip it all around. He would be giving the daughter the emotional support, and the mother would be on the daughter's ass. Because we also got that aspect too, is, you know, you're the same thing as me. So I'm more hard on you. But I'm never going to be on that opposite. Mm-hmm. It's just nature.
Well, and you see it happening in your own house when you see, you know, when I see my wife sitting there, you know, getting mad at certain chores and stuff that my daughter's not doing and stuff, you know, it's a frustration because you're dealing with kids. We was talking about earlier, you're dealing with kids and teenagers, they don't fucking listen. You know what I'm saying? So that's a challenge as it is. But as a woman, it's a challenge because she's trying to prepare her. She's getting her ready for things that she's going to be doing to maintain her household. You know what I'm saying? These are things that you're going to have to keep a clean kitchen. You're going to have to do certain things here and there. You know, don't nobody want to go and spend time in a nasty ass bathroom or this and that. You know, this is stuff these are valuable instruction that she's learning at an early age, whether she realizes it or not.
The same thing we do with the boys, with y'all.
Now,
you know, we in it. You know, y'all do this, y'all do that. Y'all just like me. Y'all, I tell you, when you start getting pussy, nigga, shit, you know, you own it. But when y'all see what I do with the girl, y'all be like, damn, you soft, nigga. But
now, let me, can I put this disclaimer out there? Now, y'all right. It's a nature versus nurture type of thing. But let me tell y'all something. Now, I can't say that I grew up in a single household. Pops was on the road doing this thing while mom was holding shit down. Mom gave me both aspects of it. You feel me? No, nigga, I'm gonna show you how to clean, cook, and all that shit because I don't want you dependent on no woman. But if she come along, this is what you should expect her to do in the household.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what she's supposed to do.
You feel what I'm saying?
And that's right.
Now, this
You
is just
prepared to do
personally. If you ain't got no woman that's teaching your kids like that, then what is a strong woman for real?
Mm-hmm.
In that aspect.
Yeah.
If she give you both sides of the game, you feel what I'm saying? So
But also,
that
the
is
game
what-
will show that when the man is going out hustling, his food ready for him when he get home and things like that. So that's what you expect, you know what I'm saying? So that's what you see also.
And
You know
that's
saying?
what is important when we talk about black family and everything like that, which that's definitely going to be a leading cause of the black on black crime. You know what I'm saying? Because when you have that breakdown of dysfunction that's happening, then you throw the other things into the mix. You know what I'm saying? You throw the poverty into the mix because a lot of us, look, very few of us, and I hate to even use the word us because I'm not even included in the category, or have what we call generational wealth. You know what I'm saying? We did not receive it from our elders, and unless you out here putting in the work, that's what it's about, is making sure you have something for what's next, for your generation, and then for the generation for. Look, sooner or later, one of our generations has to get it right when it comes to creating generational wealth. You see what I'm saying? So just because you didn't inherit that house and didn't inherit that property, don't mean you can't go get that property. It's time to get it.
Let me ask you a question. Speaking of generational wealth, why would you think that we as a community are so, you ever notice we are so cut off from our aristocracy? You know, there's black folks that's had money since day one. There is a black society of niggas with money, like old money.
yeah, but why don't we know about it?
Exactly.
We do know about it, but listen.
But you understand what I'm saying?
I feel you, but I'm saying as that generation, why don't I know about it? Why didn't you, Pops, break that down to me?
I had to find these things out myself. I don't know.
That's the disconnect.
I understand because there's a difference, because the thing that he's kind of hitting on is what we might call higher education, but even higher education at a higher standard.
Right.
Okay, and you have to be able to afford that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you have to be able to really get your kids set up in that position.
Right.
Now, those folks that make it to those positions and get into those particular sororities and all that shit, you know, yes, there's a certain path of generational wealth that's being opened up for them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, some of the things that they may get themselves into in life, some might argue that it's against the greater good of what we might call the American Negro, but you know, American Negro's been at the bottom of the totem pole since we introduced them to what it was.
It's necessary.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about getting it, ain't it?
You gotta get it by any means necessary.
You know,
But see, that goes back around to what I was saying earlier. Now, you said, like I asked you, what's the D form? How do we detox from that? Because now I'm learning even more shit that I didn't learn when I was younger. Now, not to say that I wasn't already hipped on game. I can remember I can remember getting this book from my Uncle Mike, God rest his soul. He gave me this book when I was in 8th grade. It was called What They Never Told You in History Class, right? The first page, when you open this book, the first page, it shows you. The first page, it shows you about the first black president before George Washington.
Yeah, I seen that.
The second chapter, it goes into Egypt and why we on Egypt now, but I'll pause for that.
There you go. Stop. No, that's a very good topic. All right, we will have to get there one day,
right?
Because you brought up the religion and stuff. We was talking earlier and everything. We was talking about Hebrew Israelites and stuff. There was a question earlier on the table where someone even said something about comparing us to the Jews. I know you ain't comparing us to them white Jews and stuff like that, right? But listen, there is some funny, I ain't gonna say funny, but there's some interesting information out there that alludes to this being where all that biblical stuff happened.
Right.
I take it back to the Great War, and it's as simple as we lost. If we had won,
but now, before you do that, I just have to throw these two words out there because it kind of lures to the conversation we're having. I just want to, and I think we forget about it so much, and that is melting pot. All right, a lot of the conversation that we're having about, why why black folks can't get this together, why we can't get that. We underestimate what that means, what that truly means when it comes to that melting pot. Because we have this false delusion of race over.
But do we want to melt?
Nah, fuck that. Listen, we have this false delusion of race, so we think of white and black. Oh yeah, all the different white races and stuff that came here and this and that and all the black. But we really don't understand how many different type of motherfucking black folks are in this country.
think to Terry's point is what he's saying is, Jason, is yes, we understand this. So what the fuck now? So now are we to have a revolution and try to take back our country that this is supposed to be ours in the first place? Or are we trying to mingle better and assimilate, but just with better rules?
I can give you the answer after Cuff and stuff finished, but I got something for you.
I was saying that to say, when I got that book from my uncle and I went to school the next day in my history class and we were learning about Egypt at this particular point, and I took that book out of my book bag and my teacher let me go on a 20-minute rant about this chapter that I read, right? And I remember this like it happened yesterday. He wrote me up for insubordination in class, pulled me outside of the hallway and told me, he said, yo, I can't really teach you this, man. This is something that you're gonna have to continue to research on your own. I'm not allowed to teach you this. But I still got the write-up and I still had in-school suspension for a week. Now,
that is justified.
Why though?
Because I run the world, and you ain't learning the history that I choose for you to learn for my society to run correctly.
So you just answered our whole topic for the first portion of what we were talking about.
If you want the rules in your favor, run the fucking world.
Education.
Like I said, end of the day, it's about, that's why they want to emasculate your ass. End of the day, it's about who runs the fucking world. If you want your rules in place, make moves to run the fucking world.
Okay, so check this. I'm glad you said that. Because your question is, what do we do now? Are we about to get together and revolutionize? Or are we supposed to sit back?
No, life's too good. For what? I'm living my best life, ain't it?
Can I attempt to answer that?
Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to say that basically is going back to the beginning. All right. So we gave them this. We had to go deep into the Confederacy and everything, and what true democracy looked like. Not what they teach us about Rome. Right. You know what I'm saying? But what the Confederacy had going on here. And when I say the Confederacy, I ain't talking about what we picture now with these white folks with these look.
Right.
The Confederacy was a real thing. It was first made up by Indians who sold. They ended up selling out eventually, and that's how we got these 5 civilized tribes and this and that. But to answer the question, all right, we go back to the beginning. All right, that means that we have to really put together a Congress. We have to put together representatives for us that represent our areas, our cities, our neighborhoods, our people, our culture, our education, and our protection.
We got that now. All they do is give them some money.
We don't have it.
The people that's in there now.
What we have now is what we call
Kumbaya, you cool. Kumbaya.
Is a corporation that we call a country that is dictating all of this for us as a people. Now,
you find me two people to go vote for this November 8th that's going to get us close to that.
Yeah, I'm not voting.
Because that's the point. Hold on. But that's a major point, because no matter what we bring up, if we don't participate in the cycle, we never can make a move to get anything that we sit here and fucking bitch about.
You don't hear what I said.
No, hold on. So to say you're not going to vote, you have to vote to the person that's closest to what it is that you see, that gives you another couple of years to try to work on getting closer to the next fucking go around.
So that's pretty much like, that's like, you remember How High when the dean got them all together because he had all the bird shit in the office and the little Asian dude had on the boo-foo? Yeah. This is what this is. This is boo-foo. This is by us, fuck you.
But by not voting is okay, look, until you can get a candidate up there that is you agreeing as of you, you have to vote for somebody who's as close to what you're looking for, so you have an opportunity to get closer the next time. But you give it up.
It's a perfect time that you guys are talking about voting, because that ties into my next topic. But we will get into that after we have a word from our sponsor. What's up, everyone? It's Camillio Salamander, aka WBP TV. And I just want you guys to know that, I've been working very, very hard, and I've been putting this podcast together for some time now. And to let you guys know that this podcast is serious and here to stay, I went and did some digging up behind the scenes and grabbed me a sponsor. So we're going to take a moment to put the spotlight on today's sponsor. You guys are in the southern or central Ohio parts, or just in Ohio in general, you find yourself in some trouble and need a bond, then man, I got the guy for you. Contact AA Active Bail Bonds. Again, that's AA Active Bail Bonds. You can find him on Google and other search engines. He'll get you together. Now, without further ado, let's jump back into it. Alright, so the whole topic is current black political issues, but I got subtopics within that, right? And the first thing we're going to start off with voting, since that's the last thing we left off on. My problem with voting now, I am registered to vote. I never voted. I ain't vote at all. I had 2 times to do it. I didn't do it. I prefer to vote locally first before the president stuff, because I feel like changes for us that we demand and we need, it's not gonna happen by just because you put Barack Obama in office.
This November?
I don't know yet. It depends on what they're talking about. And the reason why is because I feel like when it's around this time, man, when the presidential election is up, it's always, that's when they want to come on to the black platforms and stuff. But anytime throughout the years, they never to be seen. I feel like they only use us because at the end of the day, this is a numbers game.
But so we only 13% of the population. The majority of us can't vote because we got prison records and all that shit. Why are we so important to cater to?
Yeah, it shows you that we really are. Like, they throwing it in our face, but it's like we ignoring it at the same time. But it's like, I don't like the fact that it look like we being used. Like, Hillary Clinton, she's running for president. She show up on the Breakfast Club. She pull out house sauce. That goes into my other topic I have, which is stereotypes. Like, shit like that. Like, it don't make sense to me.
Yo, Joe Biden did the same thing.
Joe Biden talking about if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Like, okay, but now you there, what you done for us? Nothing. So it's like they use us to get the vote, and then after we got the votes, like my nigga.
Well,
Who uses us for the vote? Let's be specific. Let's be specific.
To be honest, I am
let me stop you real quick, and let me just say that, you know, to have an honest conversation, Negroes got to stop treating politics like they treat religion. You know what I mean? We blindly give our faith to the exact same shit over and over again. You know what I mean? We got to stop doing that. Let's be specific about who we're talking about. Maybe we can fix some of the problems.
Look, I believe this. I'm 23. I'll be 24 at the end of the year. In my 23 and a half years, I have never experienced any political figure that actually stood next to us. Everybody who I done research on or that I know about, it was before our time.
I know one recent times who offered, but niggas didn't take him up on it.
Who?
Mr. Trump.
No, I'm not talking about getting the rug from the white man. I'm talking about us standing up for our people.
Oh no, I thought you was talking about.
How you know Trump ain't black?
No, you said something about politicians. You said
yeah, but I'm saying we don't have a like.
You said we don't have no politicians that really stood beside us, and I just said I know one who offered, but
yeah, but I'm talking about one that look like us. Like
Trump don't look like he black.
I see like. Would you consider Jesse Jackson to be political?
Hell no.
You said political?
Yeah.
At one point, okay, yeah.
So at the height of his political run, like he was standing for, you know, the people that were standing for the civil rights movement.
He was standing for the Democratic Party.
But he was standing for black people.
No, he was standing for the Democratic Party. That's the thing. You know, we in this two-party system. For one, that's always going to be the Achilles heel to individuals who's trying to get something for their communities outside or something outside that part. It's like what Q mentioned a couple broadcasts ago. You said something about damn, I'm having a brain fart.
Well, you know,
my bad.
It's we've been dedicated to that party for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And you know. They've done nothing good for us. I mean, good intentions, I guess you could say, but I mean, look where we at 50 years later that we've been giving them our vote. Our vote repeated times over and over again. Yes, you cannot say I don't vote. That is no good. Like I was saying earlier, at this point in the game, knowing what it is you have to do to get to the next level, you have to vote for the person that is closest to where it is you are trying to get to. What that does is that either holds it or moves it a little bit your way for you to work on the next couple of years to get someone else in there who can do more. I mean, as far as what you could do now, until that great leader shows up.
And
or what
leader, savior coming, we got to get off that mentality, especially when it comes to our politics. Stop treating politics like religion. Ain't no saviors coming. You know what I'm saying? We got to get up and do it ourselves. First of all, we have to understand how much of a bullshit this two-party system is. All right? It's bullshit. All right? The same motherfuckers is running. Trump showed us that part. Whether you agree with the man or not, he showed us who's running this damn country. That's why the motherfuckers came together to crucify his ass. All right? But as far as Negroes go, and black folks, people of color, whatever we want to call it in this country, we don't have no political power. We give our political power to these parties, one way or another. You know, now, at first we was giving our political party to the Republican Party, which at the time was working out pretty darn good for us, if I may say so myself, as far as a lot of things that was happening as far as progressing Negro rights in this country or whatever. During those early 1800s, between 1867 and leading into the 1900s. And now we got this Democratic Party that we give our blind faith to, and they're by their definition they want to enslave us. We act like we forget that. Mm-hmm. We act like we forget that we give our look. The only reason we started voting for them to begin with is out of fear. They kept on lynching us, the KKKs and all that shit to the world. But we give our faith to them. We give our vote to them. Look, we got to have our own shit. That's one of the things that we have to get over is understanding. Everybody we'll never be able to pick anything because not enough of us. Bullshit. There's more of us than there is anything else on this planet, on this land. If we started voting in blocks, if we started voting in according to how we need to see fit with each other, and came up with our own political party, just sort of like how the Black Panthers were doing it back in the day. There were several others, but that's the most famous to name. But that was the key. That's why they had to be shut down by FBIs and whatnot, because niggas coming together for their own purpose, their own agenda, doing their own education, doing their own protection, feeding their own kids is this country's worst nightmare. Because one, we figure out the same reason why they wanted to go after Trump so hard. We figure out the numbers. The reason they couldn't let Trump prove what happened in his last election is because the numbers of what they've been telling us was on this land will be shown false. Period. They can't let that elephant out the gate. They ain't talking about social fucking media. They can't let that elephant out the gate. Same thing we know. If we come together with our own shit, we run it. It's that simple.
That's true, but I really think it's not going to happen. It's been plenty of times before, and history shows. Anytime we come together as a people, like you said, it's America's worst nightmare, and they will shut it down.
Why we gotta listen? Why we always gotta back the fuck down? That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? Why we so scared? You wanna know why? You wanna know why the quote unquote white folk are in this country? Because they back their shit up with violence. They back their shit up. You know what I'm saying? We put shit together in the minute. We put shit together and we don't back it up. Whatever. Our organizations that we put together for our people, when the shit hits the fan, the people don't back it. It ain't backed by an army, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
like I was thinking more like. Then I always wondered that, you know, like, because we have Black Wall Street, and then, you know, like, it been plenty of times before, like, you know, like the Black Panthers. There was times that even, like, you know, the street gangs, especially in Chicago, where they, you know, they had structure, and it wasn't about killing each other. It was about protecting us, our people. If you know, the Black Peace Stones, and you know, the Black Disciples, Gay Disciples, so forth and so forth.
But then the dope gang came in. Even in
they always find a way to destroy it.
And all of those previous gangs that you name, in their own literatures, okay, they're taught that each of them started off on a positive note, and what the reason was that it started off, and it is branded inside the mind of each and every one of those young members about the beginning of the foundations of their said organizations. All right, but at the same time, all of those literatures also speak about something that happened. It's called the breakdown through drugs. All right, and what it was is that quote unquote Black Power couldn't stand up to dope man money. All right, it couldn't stand up to
dope man.
You got this man coming over here teaching and preaching about this unity and how we need to get this white man up off our neck, and you got this motherfucker rolling down here in the Cadillac talking about I'm giving out TVs and turkeys and shit. You know what I'm saying? And you see him riding off with the fly cars and getting all the women and shit. You know what I'm saying? So
I had 3 bitches last night. I had 2 bitches.
Every organization has that storyline, and it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence that it's always the same. I don't care if you're talking about, you brought up Peace Stones, you know what I'm saying? If you're talking about Vice Lords, if you're talking about them folks, all of them have organizational literature that teaches them that exact same story. We were founded to help each other, and we were founded to take control of our situation. And somewhere down the line, this was introduced, and this is where it was going.
Can I tell you the problem with what you're saying, though, sir? All of them people, them organizations will say the same thing. Man, that shit you talking some bullshit, nigga. I'm trying to get money, nigga.
Yes, because
nigga,
that's
fuck
what
with you.
came
That shit boring, nigga.
That's what I said.
We about to get this money, and so we can pop these bottles and get these bitches. You know what I'm saying, nigga? I'm about to go get I don't know, what is the hottest shoe out this week? The Air Force 32s? I'm gonna go get me some Air Force 32s. You know what I'm saying? Air Force Ones, is that what they is? Man, all that, giving all that. When do you see a billionaire wearing some fucking Air Force 3s and shit? You know?
They were.
Michael Jordan 36s and shit.
Nah, they were. Yep.
No.
Yeah,
But
they were. Yeah, they casual sometimes.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of the stuff that you're talking about as far as the politics of it, as far as where we're giving our votes and how we vote, is it necessary to vote? Yeah. Right now, if you ask me, I say a lot of our votes go wasted. Yeah. I mean, because we're not voting for our interests. We're voting for our
we can't
interests.
get until a system gets here. We can't give this one up.
So should we, as a people, kind of like boycott voting presidentially till our demands get made or taken more serious, and we do that by not voting presidentially, but only voting locally for our needs?
If it's a true group effort like that, we can shut it down like that. We would have impact.
I think, because to be honest, look, like all the presidents they do favors for other communities,
Right.
But us.
They give us
stuff so we can be content. So we can be like,
your
all
fault.
right.
You don't want shit. You want to blame me?
It's also our fault because we allow these politicians to use us to get in.
If I was a white man, I'd be like, shit, nigga, we can get these Negroes over here for like a third of the price we can them Mexicans. Shit, buy me some Negroes. All right, I'm on it. I mean, that's our fault we don't ask for shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's our fault that we don't hold these, political figures accountable.
It all starts within. We gotta fix this shit within ourselves.
When it comes to politics, you can't underestimate the importance of money. What the American Negro, majority of us fail to realize. That's why I brought up voter blocks and stuff, our own political parties and stuff like that, even on local levels. But what we have to understand is that if we don't pool our money together and for our political influences, you know what I'm saying? Look, words don't mean nothing. Candidate need money. You understand? So if you ain't putting money in my pocket, then after I get elected, I really don't give a fuck what our conversation was about. Now, if you put enough money in my pocket, and I know that I need more of your money, well, guess what? After I get elected, my ears are open to you. You have my attention. You see what I'm saying? And we don't do that. We do it through our churches. You know what I'm saying? We vote in blocks with our churches and stuff. As far as a lot of us don't pay attention to the politics that our churches play, especially our bigger churches. But they're heavy into our local politics and stuff like that. And they can get things done. They get some things done to help out youth in the community here and there and help out different things. Some churches do good things along those lines as far as pulling that political influence. Listen, I know I got enough money because in this church, I got me $250,000 a month coming through here. So I know when I throw this $25,000 at your war chest, you know what I'm saying? I know that you're going to have your door open to me when I come talking to you about something this church needs. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, we got a lot of motherfuckers in the church that take advantage of that for their own good, but that's human nature. That's
human nature, because pleasure feels so good, because she was bouncing on it. So I got that collection played out, and I whooped that shit on out there, man. I took in 3 times what I took in last week. So now I'm going down to the DR, nigga. I got the associate pastor. He gonna fill in for me for 2 weeks while I go down here, and then when I get back, by that time you done hit the collection plate for a couple of weeks, and I'll come in with this story, and I'll hit them hard. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. Shit, nigga, we going to Vegas after that. Tell me that ain't a smooth hustle.
Yeah. That brings the top, not really the topic, but like just. The controversial thing that's going on in New York with the bishop out there, that's all flashy.
That the one that got robbed or something?
Yeah, the one that got robbed and everything. And then, he had the one lady, he grabbed her behind her neck and kind of like escorted her off because she was up there speaking in tongue and shit, messing up in video. But you know what? How I feel about that? If that man is giving them, that congregation, a word that they choose to do that for him, that's between the freedom of them people and that man.
Yes, sir.
All of that's a scam, and some people are better than others.
But them people, he is not holding no guns in their heads. None of that. You know what I'm saying?
That's one of those other topics that I'm sure that we'll address one day and whatever as well, is that, is our tie to religion. You know what I'm saying? It's funny that, and it used to be a common saying that used to hear a lot where it'd be like, hey, don't talk about politics and religion. Mm-hmm. And yet, that seems to be the two most things that
That's all we talk about,
most ignorant about. Politics and religion. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we need to reverse that in our community. We're talking about things that we need to change in our community or whatever. Reverse that. Maybe we need to reverse that standard. Stop telling motherfuckers to stop talking about politics and religion. It's too emotional. And get your ass up and start learning something and talk about politics and religion. Maybe you won't be misled so easy.
The dumbing down of society.
The thing that people don't want to talk about is because they don't know. And people is afraid to talk about what they don't know or don't understand.
Exactly right. But one thing that's been a great thing, I will say, as far as like the social media thing, I will say that, it hits you different when you see raw footage and when you see things that people actually say out their mouths versus, how we've been getting the news. Somebody that's gone through the transition from what I'm calling analog news to how it's done now, how information is done now. I remember a kid, you really couldn't obtain any major informational knowledge unless you made it to the library. Or some libraries were depleted, and that. But now, everybody is plugged in. Everybody got iPhone 37 and a Galaxy Note 72. You know what I'm saying? They got fucking mental thought connection where it's like, okay.
Unfortunately, the byproduct of that is short attention spans.
Oh man, we are a clip society. If something doesn't quench our thirst in a matter of minutes, we move on. Mm-hmm. And that goes back to a lot of family issues. We're looking for that constant stimulation for what you get. I don't know when you first get with somebody or something. Maybe I don't know, but longevity builds longevity. The relationship evolves. You know what I'm saying? You start off as a lust. Y'all hooked up together all the daggone time, and then what I'm saying, as time rolls on, y'all roll into a where y'all lean on each other and everything like that. Build together and stuff like that, and then after that. Saying one motherfucker gonna take care of the other one and bury the son of a bitch and live off of what's left over.
All right, we're gonna let you catch back up with that on the other conversation. So anyway, back to voting.
That's just the life cycle, y'all.
This nigga can't stay focused and shit. Back to goddamn voting and shit, man. Listen,
you like our stronger, man. You be off topic.
No doubt, right?
You still on the first topic.
And it's not that voting don't matter to a whole extent. I mean, listen, in a republic, democracy, whatever, however you want to put it, the idea of it is a great idea. You know what I'm saying? Individuals, that you elect or whatever, come up with laws or, things for you to vote on or, different levies and whatnot. And it's like, just let the people decide if this is a good idea or not. You know what I'm saying? And people come out and they speak on it. You know what I'm saying? The problem is the politics that get involved with it. All the other shit that gets involved with it. But I mean, the system itself, theoretically, is supposed to be a good one. Let the people decide how to govern themselves. Is this a good idea or not? Right. So like in California, I like to throw a little jab out there once in a while. But so out in California back in 2005, because I remember the people spoke. They said they didn't want gay marriage. People spoke loud and clear, and some judges overturned that. And then them judges were heroes. But now judges overturn Roe versus Wade, and they fucking demons. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man, pick your fight, pick your battle. What you want to do, man? Look, let the people speak. Mm-hmm. The people would have spoke. That shit would have never became legal in California. Hence, it wouldn't have became where we are now. Neither.
Can I say something?
And it's the same thing with Roe v. Wade. Let the people of the state speak. If the people of the state say they don't want certain shit, they don't want it. And if they say they do, then they do. But let the people decide it.
Let me tell you one great false narrative about Roe v. Wade. Okay? I don't want y'all to listen to me closely. One of the greatest myths about Roe v. Wade is that this is male driven. Men could give
You must have been listening to Stacey Adams.
No.
Y'all heard that bullshit she said?
Let me tell you something. And everybody has kids. And everybody, we have remorse over thoughts we have. You know what I'm saying? But if a man had that much fucking power, they be trying to pass laws to slow us the fuck down.
Because that's not the truth for Roe v. Wade. The truth that I heard from it was a woman who was attracted to a black man, and during the times it was forbidden, and she slept with one, got pregnant, and she lied and said she was raped.
Okay.
And then that's what I heard about.
But it opened up everything. You gotta understand, when you have law and it has what's called a precedent when a judge rules on it. There have been political science that's been using these precedents because it went through the court system as laws they can't get passed.
Precedents is law.
Being voted. Precedents is law. Precedents can always be overturned as well.
I mean, you have enough.
Which is what they're finding out. You know what I'm saying?
It ain't even that. Listen, constitutionally, listen, that's what people ain't listen to because they're getting so emotional with their arguments and everything. They allowing the media, this propaganda to get them all emotional, like, oh, you're taking away women's rights and you're doing this and you're doing such a bad thing. Look, at the time that Roe v. Wade was ruled on, there still was no constitutional right to abortion. Till this day, there is still no constitutional right to abortion. All the court did was correct itself and say, listen, we should not have been hearing this case and ruling to begin with. The court turns down cases all the time because it knows that it's not a court issue. This is up to your state legislators. That's why they're there. If you don't want abortion in your state, you need to speak the fuck up right now and tell your state, we don't want abortions here. And vice versa. If you do want them or want them up to certain points and this and that, now is the time, not bitching and moaning and going to judges' houses and trying to assassinate motherfuckers and shit. No, now is the time for all the people to claim to believe in the political system.
They want it across the board.
Now is the time to get political and to get in your representatives' faces and make sure that your state is in line with your ideology when it comes to this. Period. But what I'm going to tell you is what a lot of these states are going to find out is what a lot of the states already knew before Roe v. Wade, and that's why so many quote-unquote liberals are upset, is that the people don't really support what you're saying. I don't care what the fuck you say. There's still a lot of people that out here that understands what you're doing is murder. Yes, there's circumstances that we have the technology, and there's circumstances where that technology is necessary. I'm not saying that there's never a case where a baby shouldn't be aborted. But what I'm saying is majority of people understand it is murder. And I guarantee you're not getting that passed in majority of the states of these United States of America.
You know what?
That's why they're mad.
You know, I feel like my thoughts fall more in the middle of America on this. I think most of Americans feel like abortion is horrible and they don't never want to participate in it until it's their turn to decide if they need it.
Circumstances happen, right? Right.
Okay. So, ain't none of us for abortion. But let some bullshit happen, nigga. You need it right now, though, to save your circumstances.
The technology is there, and it should be available for certain reasons.
But there has to be a compromise put in so that, yes, we understand what this is. We're going to say, hey, look, you got up until this mark to decide what y'all gonna do. Because yes, it is a life. You understand what I'm saying? But yes, there is circumstances. So in observance of circumstances, to make it live with life, this is one of them issues that's just going to have to be a decision made. And I think most of America will fall in the middle to where, like, if you put like a reasonable limit on it and make it, of course, when you take out rape, incest, mother's life, that's automatic.
Look, I'm funny acting like that. So when it come down to the argument in Ohio, goddammit, I got certain things to say. Because goddammit, if we gonna have the discussion, we finally gonna go ahead and bring up this discussion of abortions, and it's gonna be in my lifetime. Because see, Roe v. Wade was before me.
True that.
You understand? But we're gonna go ahead and have this conversation in my lifetime. Then you know what I'm saying? I need us to go ahead and include some shit into it. Because this whole mother's right and this whole woman's this and woman's that and woman's body, woman's choice. Listen, our abortion laws in this country for way too long has been excluding the man. Period, point blank. Oh, it's the woman's rights. The woman. Listen, the man has just as much say-so and connection as well. God damn it, you think men don't mourn their babies being killed? You think men don't have to take extra responsibilities when they know they got a child to raise across town or whatever? Whatever the case may be, you have the right to that baby. It's a 50-50 thing, man, and for way too long, it's been left completely up to the woman. To the point where the man's been I mean, we've been to the point where we actually accepted this as factual law. Like, I ain't really got no say so in it, baby. What do we do? You know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
I have to disagree with you on that for the factor like this. One, it is the woman's body, okay? End of the day, it's her body.
I understand that.
You know what I'm saying? Now, two, I'm going to say most men don't even have a bond or a connection with their child till they lay eyes on it. That's just our nature. Bullshit my ass. We build bullshit my ass. Bullshit. We build our bonds throughout. But your bond is deep once you lay eyes on that child and it comes up until I don't want to let you leave that. I do agree that, end of the day. But the same note, if a woman makes that choice, a man should be able to sign off with no issues at all. I mean,
it should be something. Listen, I'm not opposed to. Listen, something has to be included that includes the man into the parenting decision. You see what I'm saying? Because that man has just as many obligations as that woman, if not more, after that baby's born, and even if the baby ain't born. You think that, so look, we just so hard around this motherfucker that everybody think we ain't got no emotion shit. You think there ain't some niggas that done laid at night thinking about a child they could have had, especially when they 50 years old, they ain't had no kids, and they wonder, they thinking about that child that they could have had with that woman who decided to get rid of it for whatever circumstances, because she was mad at him or whatever. Come on, man. You think that shit don't affect people?
I guess maybe that's just one of them things where I'm just, end of the day though, that child is in her. I'll give him that.
I want to argue. I want to argue two things. I want to say something what you said, Dad. I want to say something you said. That was something too. You said that the man don't build a connection with the child until he lay eyes on it. I have to disagree with that. For the two pregnancies that I witnessed, I built a bond while the baby was in the stomach. Rubbing the belly and then talking to it, and then when you talking to the belly and then you feel it.
I'm not suggesting you're not.
No, he's correcting the myth that you just put out there. Speak facts.
That's a bond.
Speak facts.
You're talking.
I bonded with both of mine before they got here. You understand? See, I started bonding with my daughter as soon as my wife told me for real. I had to tell my wife about a dream that I had, man. I seen my daughter before she got here. You understand? And I'm telling you, that's real life, real shit. And I told my wife when I woke up the exact dream I had and everything that was said within that dream between me and my daughter sitting at that table, nigga. And that shit was just as real as fucking talking to her now. I'm telling you, nigga, the connection there.
That's an exception, because for one, y'all was trying to get pregnant.
No, what, nigga? We was damn near 30 years old.
Y'all got it.
When Trinity, she was pregnant, nigga. That was the furthest thing from my mind anymore.
Let me break some look at here.
No, real fact.
Why did y'all get the dog?
No,
real fact. Why did y'all get the dog?
No, listen, I'm trying to tell you a fact if you shut your drunk ass up, nigga. Real fact. All right. You're bringing up the dog, that's different. Now, I can tell you what I said about the dog, you know what I'm saying? But, real fact, when we found out that Trina was pregnant, it was because she was going in for something completely different.
I agree, but that was after this point. And it wasn't, you know what I'm saying?
Now, we had the dog that I brought home. I was at work, white woman came to work, man, and she had some puppies and shit. She was talking about selling and shit, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I bought the runt of the litter, man. It was something about his ass. I bought the runt of the litter from her. Brought it home. Now, like I said, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, anybody who still hold on to an idea of having some kids or this and that or whatever, you know what I'm saying? A good way to break that woman in, break your woman in, man, is you bring a dog in.
That's my point. He's trying to make one. So you understand what I'm saying? That's different than the rest of the world.
It brings in some of those soft elements that prepare y'all for that baby that's to come, but nothing gonna prepare you for that baby. I'm telling you that now.
You see,
it brings in some of those soft elements. However, like I said, we have been married at the time for 10 years. I'm going into my 30s. You know what I'm saying? So, having a baby was far off my mind and stuff as far as that go. Like, you know, in my mind, I'm getting to the point where it's like, man, maybe I done fucked myself up in my teens and shit. I mean, you know, Papa was a Rolling Stone at one point, you know, so I'm like, maybe I done fucked myself up or some shit, you know, and I'm just like, you know, life is what it is. I mean, heck, God blessed me with a beautiful wife, and I'm loving my life and everything I'm doing, so, I mean, it is what it is. So when the time came and she popped, boom, got a baby coming, nigga, I was old too, nigga. I'm like, oh fuck. I'm be 50 by the time these kids get out the house.
The only reason I bring that up was, like I said,
how'd you feel for real? Like,
I was excited. You know what I'm saying? Like, you put in the work and everything. It's like, shoot, that's one of the parts of the fantasy, I guess, is you expect to have kids around. You know what I'm saying? So if you get into an older age and that part ain't really happening yet, and it's like, man, okay, well, you might not. Like, shit, I got some cool ass nephews and shit. I mean, you know, it is what it is, I guess, at this point. You know what I'm saying? But then it happened, and like I said, yes, there's an excitement. There's a connection that is built just from the knowledge and knowing that you have a baby coming. Yes. Excuse me. I understand a woman builds that nurturing, physical contact type of connection. I mean, face it. That's why many individuals call women gods. I mean, nigga, they creating you. They creating human life inside them. Look, every one of us was inside of a woman at some point in our life.
Some point.
You see what I'm saying? Like, there's something very amazing about women. The ability to grow a human being inside of them, nigga. And they fucking wannabe pretenders running around acting like they women of the year and shit. Nigga, have a baby. And sit the fuck down. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
One thing.
What more power do you want? You are the creation.
Hey, man.
Of life.
So, look, with that said, look, I understand that they have certain understanding, there's a connection, and any man having in a situation with their woman or with a woman where there's a possible baby in the makings and stuff like that, I mean, it should only be common sense, you know what I'm saying, to let her have the burden of the decision, you know what I'm saying, the full, you know, understanding the decision, it might come down to her. But you as a fool if you're not going to put your input in. You don't get your input. This is your life too.
You have all the input you want. But at the end of the day, I mean, you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But like I said, if they make that choice, the man should be able to just...
Look, do you know with the way the laws were...
If that's how he feels.
Do you know with the way the laws were, even in this state, because of that federal shit, the way the laws were, these beautiful boys that you got sitting right here across from you, There's a chance that they could not have been here and you would not have had nothing to say about it. There is nothing you would have been able to do about it. That's what I mean. You see what I'm saying? That is being robbed from men every day under that old law. That's what I was saying.
I want to say this, like, from what both of you guys were saying, I could see from experience, I could see where Uncle Jay is coming from. But then when Uncle Jay was explaining it, it is kind of a difference when, you know, the two is in love and you guys are like not trying to make a baby, but if it happens, it happens. Versus someone who, you know, you just hit it on the side or whatever.
There is a difference. There is a difference. I mean, the emotional bond's gonna start whenever. Okay? Whether it's a surprise moment that shocks you, and that's like one of the first things you just think about because you're like, man, I almost shut the fuck up my life right now. What's up, girl? You open to this? And then you know.
But that's because the other thing.
But I just still feel, even if you just want to put it as simple as on the risk factor in the procedure, end of the day, I ain't got nothing to say over what you do with your motherfucking body. Yours. I do believe that, you know, as far as that goes. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, yeah, if I can talk to you and get you to do what I want, well, shit, win-win, right? But end of the day, if you walk in that motherfucker and decide to do otherwise, it's your motherfucking body, and you have that right. Now,
it starts earlier than that, though, because I mean, we even got this thing. Look, people making it about abortions and this and that, and like I stated earlier, I believe people should make that decision. So go ahead and make that decision. But when we go to something that even predates the abortion, why nobody want to talk about sexual responsibility no more? Oops, because now we're attacking that alphabet crew. Why don't we talk about sexual responsibility no more? Anything, sexual morality, anything along those lines that led to safer practices.
I want to say this. When you say they should put a law in place that, you know, it gives the man a say-so, you know, when it comes to, you know, the abortion or not with the child, right? It will, in some type of way, put the woman put the woman responsible for who she chooses to lay down with.
Yes, be more responsible to who you open them legs up to and give them goodies to. And niggas, look, all right, we can't be dogs all the goddamn time. Either. We just talking about deadbeats. Look, when you get older, you start realizing certain things are more important in life anyway. So I mean, look, hopefully you don't fuck up too much while you're younger, man. You know what I mean?
There is all kind of morality issues that you can put in place, that you put a rule or a law to try to enforce to drive good behavior. But end of the day, on this issue right here, when it becomes something that personally affects removing something from a person's body, I think that individual has that final right when it comes to that cut and dry on that. Like, you know, when it comes down to it, who has the right to make that decision? That individual does. You understand what I'm saying? Just like you the only one that got the right to make any decisions about your body. I can't do that. Can't none of us do that. You know what I'm saying? So
But don't you have a right to life and liberty?
Yeah, of course you do.
You do?
Of course.
Okay, that's all anybody's saying. Everybody has a right to life and liberty. Everybody's right to liberty is going to trump.
I see where you're going.
Is going to trump that.
That's where the compromise comes in. So if you're going to say conception is life, that's fine. But that's where the compromise come in, which is where I feel like most of the country is. Look, we're going to compromise that.
And actually, I should say life and pursuit.
We're going to compromise that. Yeah, okay. Life starts at conception. You think life don't start until birth. We're going to compromise in the middle. 22 weeks. If you ain't made a decision by then,
because see, and that's
it.
And that's why the judges needed to kick it back to the states,
right?
Because the people have to make this decision. Because either way it go, we are making a moral compromise. All right.
I agree.
Because listen, I don't care who you are. You cannot be that damn naive to not understand that you came from. We all know where we came from, how we got here. No. Listen to this. Do we all know how we got here, where we came from, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do not tell me when my life started. We know how I got here. I know that when that egg was penetrated, the science was happening that led me to this chair right here. You understand that?
Do not deny one part of what you're saying.
We know where we came from, so how we gonna act like that's not life?
What I'm saying is that in the world today, you have to do something to move on it so you can attack other issues. And on this one, it just needs to be understood that after X amount of weeks, you can't motherfucking get one. And so decide what the fuck you gonna do by X amount of weeks. And there it is. Now let's move on to the next day, because it would never be a satisfaction of at conception. It would never be a satisfaction of all the way up to birth. That will never happen completely. You understand what I'm saying? So
California wants to consider it after birth.
I understand what California wants to do.
Birth.
That's
How
why
can
the
you give an
rest of the
after birth?
country, the rest of the country does not feel that way. That's why you go ahead and you put in some kind. You put in even makes this is such a critical issue. You can even make this an amendment. You know what I'm saying? So that it can't be fucked with for fucking years. You understand what I'm saying? And let's get this issue over with and move the fuck on to something.
I agree with the courts, and on that note, I'm just gonna say I agree with the courts. Let the states deal with it. If individuals have enough problem with it,
federal law.
I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what Democrats are gonna fucking find out come November. They're gonna find out that people care a whole lot more about real life than they care about the abortion issue, which is the same reason why those judges had to make those decisions way back when. You know what I mean? Because the people are never going to care enough to really make it a big enough issue to push to really make it legal again like that in states where it's already illegal.
All right, so this brings us into our last topic before we end this episode. I really want your side of the point of view on this question, because I know you're not on that side, but you kind of is due to your profession. So like, what is your stance on like police reform?
Excuse me. Police reform, as in what we're seeing happening, or
yeah, it's like, do you think we should defund the police? Do you think they should be more involved into the community, or like anything of that nature? Because I know you're not like, but you kind of is on that side because you're a bounty hunter. So it's like you kind of.
I'm a bail bondsman. In the state of Ohio, I'm a bail bondsman.
Yeah. But you see like the ins and outs of like what that other side can face on a daily basis.
I mean, as far as defund the police, I mean that one there just never really sound like that's going to be a valuable tool to use. Okay, now maybe fuck all that. I can't be politically correct here. Look, beginning of the problem with the police forces is what the FBI told us back in 2004, 2005, all right? Which was American law enforcement has been completely infiltrated by white supremacist groups, period. All right? That shit was never addressed. It led to a whole lot of fucking unnecessary killings and unchecking of a lot of shit going on. Now, it ain't new to us because we understand where the police come from anyway. They say it was all formed during slave patrols and all that type of shit anyway. So we're not going to expect it to be a fair system if it's going to remain under that type of status quo. So we come back to what really is needed. Listen, we have to police ourselves. You go to Chinatown, they are not being policed by a bunch of white folk. It's not happening. You don't believe me? Go pick one. We got several of them in America. Go pick one. They are not being policed by outsiders. Okay? We don't take control of ours. There's no reason why our police department shouldn't reflect our communities.
Yeah.
our neighborhoods. You have people coming from outside the community policing. It's only a matter of time before they look at it as occupied territory. You call it a war zone, they're gonna treat them like that.
Would you agree that you say we probably move out of our communities at a higher rate than other groups?
No. Because I would have to assume by that statement, you mean what we see when we see people who go to more what we call white communities or whatever, more influential communities and this, that, and okay. But when we look at those communities and look at the diversity in those communities, we see just as few black folks in those communities as we see just as few, but maybe more, as the Koreans. We see the Asians galore in those communities. We see that's where the Arab people live, is up in them communities. You know what I'm saying? They come to work in the gas stations in the hood, but when they going back and them 3-4 families living in that 3,500 square foot house, you see what I'm saying? That's what they do.
It just seems like
so. But we stigmatize it because we see a few do it, and it's like, you moving out there. They just moving to better resources in schools because they have to. I mean, look, we can do the same shit if we just 2-3 families get together and go get 3,500 square feet and make it work. Well, we do the same shit.
But it's all involving moving out in a way. Why are we so eager to leave our neighborhoods?
It's because
our neighborhoods suck.
To a certain degree, but how can they suck when everybody wants to come here? This is where all the culture is.
Shit, you don't want to live around all that bullshit.
This is where all the culture is.
The money's out yonder, you know what I'm saying?
What we call American culture don't exist without the urban city. It don't exist without the American Negro. But we have to do better when it comes to our circumstances. We keep on, listen, we're not taking responsibility. When I was talking earlier about a Congress and stuff like that, never got that point all the way out. But regardless, it's what's needed. Representation, we got all these organizations and stuff running around here and this and that. Real representation needs to be put together and organized. Period, point blank, across this country.
And that's my point, is that, and I agree with what's being said earlier, is we have to take the next step. We identify the problem, we identify the issue. We all have the same thought process for the most part. We might have got there by a different pathway, depending on where you got your information and everything from. But what is it like? Is the goal to get people to run that we are like-minded with, to try to fill up the areas of government, and hopefully they'll vote things in? Is it more of a aggressive type move? Is this a global move? Is this just an American black move?
It could be a lot of things.
Many questions.
It can be a lot of things, but I don't want to go into all them different things. Look, what I was saying is that we start with police reform by the old structure has to be broke down, okay? We have to police ourselves. We don't listen, like I explained when the nightclub situation when I was doing security back in the day and stuff like that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just difference of understanding.
But it's our fault. We don't even apply. The white folks been running fucking academies and programs for us for years.
Yeah, but
we don't apply.
Yes, we do. I remember applying when I was younger, and I remember because I applied for Cincinnati. Well, I applied for several before, but I remember when I went for Cincinnati, I was shocked. Like they had us lined up around the convention center to get, for that, and I was shocked by how many niggas was down there. You know what I'm saying? Like, niggas was down there. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't remember the exact number, but I'm gonna tell you, I remember how disappointed I was when they announced the class that year and stuff. Like, I made it up until we went to the well, they did the board test where you went in front of these three individuals and stuff, and they asked you a couple questions and this, and they did the lie detector test at the same time, the same day. and I didn't make it past that day, so I don't really know which other areas got me.
The board.
You know what I mean? Well, you know, and it's not that I told any lies, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, some of the things that they ask you and stuff, I mean, it's like, look, I come up from a neighborhood where certain things, you know, happens.
It was acceptable. This is what we do.
And, you know, so it's like, it's not that I'm going to lie about it or anything, but it's like, you know, at the same time, I even trying to get a job, I ain't much into self-incrimination, so.
I'm taking on the lie detector with the Cincinnati police and shit. Nigga, you ever smoke crack? You ever dealt crack, nigga?
You know.
Nigga, look at here. Look, Mr. Officer, look, I was trying to get that $40,000 a year. You know, back in them days, $40,000 was a little bit of money.
But, you
I
know.
was trying to get that $45,000, nigga. We was looking at this as a job. We don't look at it as a. There was literally first responder. It's a good job. That's how we look at it.
You know, like I said, there wasn't much of a. I don't remember the exact number, but I want to just to give the audience an idea of what it was. That class, I want to say they put through. Let's say it was like 30 people made it or something. You know what I'm saying? And like 3 of them were minorities, as they put it. You know what I'm saying? One of them was a black man, I think it was. You know what I'm saying? It was something. It was like completely absurd compared to what I witnessed down there when I went down there for the initial testing. And like I said, we was wrapped around the building. When I went down there for the physical exam, it was packed, crowded when they had us doing all the running and jumping and through the window and climbing fences and shit, you know. And then it was more narrowed down, more appointment orientated by the time I got down to talking to the board and taking the polygraph. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, man, look, out of all them niggas out down there, you can't tell me you found that much of a problem with that many niggas that it was that low of numbers that got through. And I'm telling you, there were way more niggas I saw than any other race.
Called some kind of case.
You know, something that you just said that's kind of mind blowing, like the whole process of becoming an officer. It sounds easy as hell, like to become one. That's crazy.
Yeah, people need to do it. You know, but like I said, those circumstances deter people when you see that type of shit happen. I can see why people get deterred. Like, man, fuck. You know what I'm saying? Look, I went out for Dayton. Dayton canceled their class in the middle, or they canceled their shit in the middle of our process. We made it through the written exam. We made it to the physical exam, and then they canceled the class. Mm-hmm. Okay. State. I went out for the state troopers. I thought I was gonna get that one. You know what I'm saying? But that one was the. Hold on, I gotta remember because I really thought I was gonna get that one, and it got to the process. I want to say it was after the physical exam for them because they had us go all the way up to the boondocks and shit. I want to say it was a little bit after the physical exam for them. I was waiting for the next call and it never came. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, man, damn. So then then the penitentiary, you know, I thought about that shit. I had it. I think I did all the way. I didn't really pursue it the rest of the way. I think it was more on my own because it was like it was so far away from what I wanted to do anyway. You know what I'm saying? Look, the idea, like I used to, because my folks used to be like, man, you try out for the police and shit, man, but you know what I'm saying? In the military and this and that. I'm like, man, look, me personally, the way I was feeling when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? I'd rather sign up to do some shit that's gonna help out right here in my community than to sign up for some shit to go halfway across the world to fight. You know what I mean? There's real shit that I'm seeing right here happen that I wanted to be able to help and address my people with. You know what I mean? And I felt like being a cop was the way to go back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that shit's cool. And you get to be out and about. There ain't no day the same. You know what I mean? And you really like out here with the people doing shit, real shit, you know, and helping motherfuckers that really need help. You know what I mean? And that just seemed like the ideal job for me. Penitentiary wasn't that.
No.
Being a CEO wasn't that. That wasn't that.
Keep everybody locked up, nigga.
Yeah, man. You know, that wasn't that. Man.
You know, anyway, I just wanted to, you know what I'm saying, reach out to everybody today and say that, you know, we definitely enjoyed the conversation we had here today at this table. We definitely enjoyed an opportunity. We just hope that some of what you hear just kind of sparks a little conversation amongst yourself and your friends. You know, we look forward to reading all your comments. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Engineer over there, you know, we need to give him something to do so he can earn a living. He's trying to eat some beanies and weenies. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, hit us up in the comments. Give us some ideas. We'll give you some things, some feedback. We love challenge. Anything that, you know, saying that you want to interject, it always sparks new conversation and new ideas. And we just want to say that we appreciate y'all again, and we look forward to the next conversation.